over 38,000 gallons recalled because of a floating black foreign substance in the product. The affected gallons have a sell-by date of October 4th, 2026.
Picture yourself getting ready for bed when you reach for a gallon of water you bought at the grocery store. The kind you rely on because you have sleep apnea and need your CPAP machine to breathe through the night. Both labels on the jug promise the same thing: distilled and pure. But as you pour it into the machine's reservoir, floating black flakes appear, dark and mysterious sediment swirling at the bottom. You stop pouring and examine the bottle, which is brand new and sealed. Thousands of people across the Midwest are living this exact scenario right now, and what makes it worse is that nobody can tell them what they're looking at. Nearly 40,000 gallons of distilled water just got pulled from shelves in a massive recall, and authorities found a black foreign substance floating inside the jugs. What's terrifying about this story is that the recall started back in November, which means we're months into this situation, and as of today, neither the manufacturer nor the FDA has publicly identified what that black stuff actually is. Anyone living in these 6 states, or anyone who knows someone using a CPAP machine or mixing baby formula, needs to pay attention because a recall for an unknown substance in medical-grade water represents a completely different level of danger than your typical food safety issue. We're going deep into the Meijer water recall today, examining the exact batch codes you need to find, investigating what this black slime could be, and explaining why this might rank among the most dangerous recalls we've seen in years. Meijer brand steam distilled water comes in standard 1-gallon translucent plastic jugs, and the key identifier here is the red plastic cap. Check the bottom or the shoulder of any jug in your pantry for lot code 39222 number 3, which carries an expiration date way out in October 2026, meaning people might have stocked up thinking it's safe for years. Meijer Distribution Inc. pulled nearly 38,000 gallons, which translates to roughly 150,000 individual bottles. When a food recall happens, we typically know the enemy right away because we hear salmonella in onions or listeria in cheese, which tells us the bug, the symptoms, and the cure all at once. But here's the thing. The FDA report for this case lists the reason simply as foreign object ROJ, floating black foreign substance, with no chemical name and no biological classification. Distilled water isn't just filtered. It gets boiled into steam and then condensed back into liquid, which makes it physically impossible for solids to survive that process. Whatever black stuff ended up in the bottle didn't come from the water source, it came from the machine itself. Industry experts point to 2 main culprits when black particles show up in water lines. Granular activated carbon represents the first option, since many factories use massive carbon filters to polish the water before bottling. And when those filters break, black carbon dust dumps into the supply and looks scary even though it's usually harmless charcoal. Black mold represents the second option, which happens when pipes after the distillation tank don't get sanitized properly, allowing fungal colonies to grow in the lines and break off in chunks that end up in your bottle. Nobody knows which one contaminated these jugs, and until the FDA tells us, you have to assume the worst. And that's when this specific recall becomes so much worse than finding a bug in your salad, because it's about how you use the product. Most people don't drink distilled water for fun since it tastes flat. They buy it for machinery like humidifiers and CPAP machines for sleep apnea. A CPAP machine takes water, heats it up, turns it into a fine mist or vapor, and shoots it under pressure directly into your airways, which creates a completely different risk profile than ingesting contamination. Your stomach acid is incredibly powerful and will likely kill a piece of black mold in a sandwich before it does damage, since your digestive system evolved to handle intruders. Your lungs have no stomach acid though, just delicate porous tissues designed to absorb oxygen directly into the bloodstream. Putting that black substance in a CPAP when it could be mold, bacteria, or microplastic means you're essentially aerosolizing the contamination and injecting it into the deepest parts of your lungs for 8 hours a night, which can lead to something called hypersensitivity pneumonitis, or severe respiratory infections. Remember that the water jug is translucent, so if the particles are small or settled at the bottom, you might not see them in a dark bedroom before you fill your tank. CPAP users deserve to know if it's just carbon dust so they can stop panicking, or if it's mold so they can go to the doctor. But the silence from authorities creates the fear. Anyone thinking it's just water, how bad can it be, needs to look at history. because this isn't the first time pure bottled water has hidden a dark secret. Real Water from 2021 serves as the perfect example, since this premium alkaline water brand sold in Whole Foods promised to be healthier than tap water, but missed a step in the cleaning process behind the scenes. Dozens of people ended up hospitalized with non-viral hepatitis, 5 people suffered acute liver failure, and 1 person died from drinking bottled water. Investigators revealed that the company didn't clean the tanks properly, which turned the water into a toxic soup of chemicals, even though it looked crystal clear. Starkey water faced a recall when their all-natural spring water contained high levels of arsenic, a literal poison that occurred naturally in the spring but got filtered poorly. Bottled water is a manufactured product that gets processed in a factory with pumps, greased gears, rubber seals, and chemical cleaners, so when you see black stuff in a Meijer bottle, it signals that the industrial barrier has broken and that bottle is no longer water, it's industrial waste. The FDA classifies recalls into 3 levels, where Class 3 is minor and Class 1 is deadly, and regulators have now officially designated this a Class 2 recall. This specific rating means the product can cause temporary or medically reversible health consequences, confirming that while the black substance likely isn't lethal, it is definitely capable of making you sick. The enforcement report still lists the cause simply as floating black foreign substance. So, while we now know the risk level, the actual identity of what's inside the bottle remains a mystery. Meijer initiated the recall voluntarily, which suggests they caught the problem. But the fact that it involves 40,000 gallons suggests a systemic failure rather than just one dirty bottle. Anyone with Meijer distilled water with a red cap needs to check the code right now. And even if you don't see black spots, do not use it because the particles could be microscopic. Stop using this water in any medical device immediately. Then disinfect your humidifier or CPAP reservoir with a vinegar solution and change your filters. Don't just throw the bottle away either. Return it so stores can track returns and understand the scale of the contamination. Water is the one thing we assume is safe, and we pay extra for it specifically to avoid contaminants. So when that trust breaks, it puts the most vulnerable people at risk, babies and the sick. We're monitoring the FDA database daily, and the moment they identify what the black substance is, we'll post an update in the pinned comment below. Check your bottles, stay safe, and subscribe to stay informed.